this year's on track to be the deadliest on roads in Connecticut. According to researchers at UConn, the latest accident, a pedestrian hit and killed by a car on the highway in Hartford just last night. News 8's Jane Chacko joins us live now in Hartford with a look at the work being done to try to curb those deaths. Jane.
Well, Darren, every time a crash happens, researchers get the police report, they compile and analyze all the data, and it helps them see the bigger picture of how and why these accidents happen. Crashes are happening almost every week in our state. If 2024 continues the current trend, researchers are predicting more than 400 fatalities this year. So far, the number of fatalities this year to date is higher than the past 3, according to data collected by the Connecticut Transportation Institute. At the Longley building at UConn, researchers with the institute are finding ways to keep drivers safe.
So how can we use vehicle automation, or how can we use some of the safety features within vehicles to prevent those crashes from occurring?
So they use this driving simulator to track a number of things like driving in crazy weather, distracted driving, impaired driving. It helps them figure out why people get into car accidents. They're also looking at crashes involving motorcycles. Motorcycle deaths are up this year with 7 fatalities already.
So we're seeing a dramatic increase in motorcycle fatalities so far this year, partly because we've had a fairly warm winter.
He uses this machine mostly for education.
You got hit by a car that ran through the light.
He hopes to build it out to track more data.
What we hope to be able to do is to take the physical hardware here, wire it in with the car itself, and put the 2 vehicles in the same simulation.
But there are some bumps in the road when it comes to research. Cannabis is still a Schedule I drug, meaning researchers who run tests with high drivers could risk losing their funding. But Jackson says this testing is necessary.
Cannabis stays in your system for 30 days after you've used. So if you do a blood test, you'll see it still shows up in your system. That doesn't necessarily mean that that driver was impaired at the time of crash. And now that it's recreational in the state, we're seeing cannabis show up in a lot more drivers' systems.
Jackson hopes the Schedule I status of marijuana changes so they can do what are called green labs. They bring in someone who is under the influence of marijuana, have them drive in the car simulator, and that way they can track how someone drives while using the drug. Live in Hartford, Jane Chacko, News 8.